A very good evening to all my dear students. On behalf of Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, I welcome each one of you for today's session. We are going to start the live virtual classes for corporate law from today. And I hope you all are geared up with your pens, pencils, and papers ready. And I can see wonderful good evening wishes coming from all of you. Bhumika, Mausam, Priya, Pooja, Soumya, Shriya, all of you. A very, very good evening, children. Ekambaram, R, Khushi, Vipin, Harsh, all of you. Good evening, children. So you all are preparing for your CA intermediate now. You all are big students now. You have cleared your foundation and now we are preparing, starting with the chapter number 1 for corporate and other laws, that is preliminary. So children, in foundation, you have just studied very much basics of Companies Act. So we have started laying the foundation from CA foundation, that what is a company, types of companies. We have briefly introduced about the memorandum of association, articles of association. Thank you, Pooja Kashyap. I am equally excited to teach you all and welcome you all for this session. We'll try to make it as interesting as possible. I'll be taking up number of queries also in between. Whatever questions you can have, you can keep asking in the chat box. Towards the end of the session, I'll also allow you to unmute, but you'll have to raise your hands if you have any specific kind of queries still left. All right. So let's gear up for today's session. I hope the excitement is mutual on both the sides. I am also equally excited to teach you, students. And we are going to start with the chapter of preliminary. But as I always love to start my lecture with a positive note, so I generally love the note of Henry David, who says, success usually comes to those who are too busy to be looking for it. So now, since you are determined that I am going to be a chartered accountant soon, I am preparing for it. So no one can stop you from leading towards the world of success. It's all about your manifestations, mindset, and the determination and focus that you're going to keep for your studies. Children, CA is a journey. It is not that you have just prepared for the exams and you got the result and everything is done. You all will understand starting from the foundation. Many of you must have seen ups and downs in between also. While preparing also, you feel that, okay, there was very less things that I had to do in foundation. Now the syllabus is very huge. At times, these kind of feelings do come in a mind. But what is required? Consistency. You have to be very, very consistent with your hard work. And that is the only thumb rule towards the key of success. So nothing comes easy. You have to put your mind and everything into your books. As I always tell my students, okay, Chandana is saying, I am direct entry student. So please explain briefly. So Chandana, even if you are a direct entry student, so CA intermediate law is totally different from what you have studied in foundation. But yes, during foundation, you have started the basics of Companies Act. But when we do in intermediate, we start from the very section 1 from the Companies Act. So from scratch, we'll be beginning. So there is no problem even if you're a direct entry student. Govardhan is writing, ma'am, I'm so excited for today's lecture. Thank you so much. And even I am also excited to teach you all. All right. So I was just telling you that sometimes we do feel, so it is very normal. Let's accept the fact that at times we do feel those kind of feelings that tough hai, hoga nahi, bahut zyada hai, syllabus is too much. So it's a normal general feeling. So these kind of things, if they come to your mind, just take a deep breath and remind yourself that I am going to be a chartered accountant soon. So today, when you have your study materials, law modules in your hands, just write it on the last page of the book that I am going to be a chartered accountant soon. And whenever the moment you feel down, just open that page and read the lines written with your own hands. That is the best motivation that you can give to yourself. Children, remember, you yourself are your greatest assets. The way you can motivate yourself, the way you can encourage yourself, nobody else can. So if you are determined, you are focused that yes, I'm going to do it and yes, I will do it, then no one can stop you from achieving this respectful, dignified degree that is chartered accountancy. All right, and here are some of the tips for CA students. Number one, hard work is must. So whenever I meet any chartered accountant student and I ask them, what are your strengths? I generally tell them that don't speak hard work. Hard work is imbibed in you. That's why you're a CA student. Think of some different kind of strengths. So hard work is there within you. That's why you are a chartered accountant student. So it is must. You cannot have any escape route from the hard work. Study plan is very important. You must have a planner, timetable. Many students tell me, ma'am, we make a timetable, but we are not able to follow it. So it's absolutely fine. Tear the page, make a new one. Next day, again, review what you have not been able to do it. Consistency. Again and again, you keep trying. One day, your timetable will be on time and you will be able to follow that. So study plan is very important. Number two, revise whatever we have done in the class. So today we are going to start with the chapter preliminary. We'll be doing number of definitions. Once you have revised whatever the teachers have taught you, it gets fed over here, trust me. But the problem is students enjoy the class, they understand during that time, and then the books are closed. And when the teacher comes in the next session, then again you open up your books. So it's important that you are being consistent, we are being regularly revising your work is very, very important. Another thing in law, what is important is writing practice. Many a times again in foundation also students kai bari bolte hain, ma'am, answers I have written right, but why it is not right? So you have not done your writing practice. So it's very important you make short notes, keep your writing practice. We'll be doing number of case studies in the class. Be regular with your work. Whatever we are doing, practice it at home also. I'm very sorry for my throat. My throat is a little unwell today, so please bear with my voice. So MTPs, RTPs, and memory game. This is the only memory game. After every chapter, you must go through the questions. Most of the questions I'll be sending you as assignments also so that you can practice those questions. And many of the questions we'll be doing in the class itself. So you must subscribe to the ICAI website, MTPs also. That is very, very important questionnaires. It helps you to just check your memory, how much you have stored in your mind. After each chapter, you should open. Don't start reading the questions from the chapters which you have never done. Obviously, you will feel scared. If I ask you what is dividend, how the dividend is to be calculated, what is the deposit receipt you have to be received, all these kind of questions will not make sense unless you have done them. If I ask you what INC form has to be submitted when the company is incorporated, so you'll not understand unless and until you have done the chapter of incorporation. So after doing each chapter, you should open the MTPs and RTPs, then only you should test your knowledge. All right. Yes, we will do MCQs practice also. Thank you, Sri Haridas. I'm glad to read your message. Yes, Dibdas, we are starting with the first chapter. From today only we are starting, okay? Samsung, somebody from the name of Samsung SM, you have not written your name, but you're asking, ma'am, law is difficult or easy? So this is a very interesting question. So trust me, if you are revising your work, you are being regular with your law books and you're falling in love with the subject. When I say falling in love with the subject means you have to open your books and you have to study. Read the case law, stories, questions as short examples. Try to understand the concept. And trust me, law becomes very, very easy. It's not at all tough. But if you don't revise, you don't open the books, then it becomes very, very challenging. Okay, thank you so much, Priyanka. Definitely. And thanks, you have watched the webinars also. I'm glad to know that. Priya is writing, I'm very weak in theory. What part to memorize by heart? Just keep letting us know in between. Definitely, I'll keep you letting in between. I'll discuss about that also. Structure of writing notes, somebody has asked. Again, we'll be discussing all these kind of things when the questions will come in between. I'll be taking all these kind of things. Okay. Okay, it's okay. If you don't know how to change the name, it's okay. Yes, Govardhan, I will be taking up the chapter of preliminary, and after that, you will keep on knowing the schedule, whosoever is taking the chapters. Don't worry, okay? All right. So now let's begin with the Companies Act 2013. So first of all, very important thing you have to understand. Earlier, it was Companies Act 1956. Entire Companies Act was replaced in the year 2013. Companies Act 2013, Chapter 1, we are going to discuss. And certain rules 2014 has been made. So whatever chapters we'll be doing, most of the content is given under the Act in the form of sections, subsections, and clauses. But the procedural part, how the compliance needs to be done, is given under specific rules. Now, the question comes to your mind is, ma'am, we have to learn all the sections, all the rules. So as and when I feel, I will keep letting you know, like prospectus chapter, if I'll be doing with you, I'll tell you that these are important sections, you must learn them. So some of the rules, when you go to share capital and debentures, there are number of rules. So even if you don't remember the rules, as per the company's rules 2014, you're writing the answers. That is good enough. But sections, now you are intermediate student, foundation may you were not learning the sections. Now it becomes a priority. But still, if you don't remember the correct section, never ever write the wrong section in the exam. You can simply write as per the provisions of the Companies Act 2013. So Companies Act 2013 was preceded by Companies Act Companies Act 1956. So again, I just told you that your entire act was changed. So if you have any old books lying in the house, which are Companies Act 1956, you should not follow them. So regarding the books that you have to follow, your study material, ICAI study material is the Bible for your Companies Act, for your corporate and other laws. That is must. You have to do that is more than sufficient. Let me tell you. If you're doing the module nicely, you are referring to my presentations, my notes, and the questions that I'm doing in the class. After that, you're doing your MTPs, RTPs, that is more than enough. Your exam will get clear, and it can get clear with good exemption. That is sufficient. Okay, you don't need to refer to any other books. But in case you have read any books, if you're referring to any of the Companies Act book, it should always be 2013, never refer to 1956 because it's an old act, it has been amended. So the current act, it contains 470 sections. Some of the sections is covered in intermediate, balance sections will be covered under CA final. 7 schedule, 29 chapters, out of which few chapters we are going to do in intermediate. A substantial part of this act is in the form of companies rules. So I told you most of the act is in the form of companies rules. As and when the rules come, we will be discussing. Now let's begin the session with the most important definition, that is, what is a company? Since we are starting talking about the Companies Act, तो company होता क्या है? क्या है ये company? It says company is an artificial being, intangible, and somebody who is existing in the contemplation of law, means in the eyes of law. It is saying somebody has come into existence. Can I say that I am a natural person, I have a company? It says no. It is an artificial person, which is invisible, intangible, दिखाई नहीं देती, नजर नहीं आ रही है. कंपनी कोई ऐसी नहीं है कि ह्यूमन बीइंग है जो चल रही है. But there is something which has come into existence. So a company, when incorporated means when a company is formed. How the company is formed? Chapter number 2, you learn how the company is formed. It is registered with ROC. ROC is Registrar of Companies. You go and file your documents and a company is registered, means its name is entered. It is getting an incorporation certificate that now you have come into existence. So that company becomes an artificial person. It is created by law, means law has created it. By doing all the legal procedures, you created a company. It has a separate legal entity. So if I, Harleen ma'am, forms a company, so I formed a company, ABC Private Limited. So minimum 2 people are required for starting a private company. So if Harleen ma'am and Mr. A, Mr. A and Harleen ma'am has formed a company ABC Private Limited, then that company ABC Private Limited is separate. Harleen ma'am and Mr. A, who are the members of the company, they are separate. Means our liabilities are separate. In partnership, what you have been studying, even the direct entry students, those who have done your BCom and other subjects, you must have studied about partnership. There you were not separate, you were one. You were together holding the assets and everything. But in a company, it's a separate legal existence. Company has been formed. With a perpetual succession, what is the meaning of this word perpetual succession? I'm sure you must know the meaning of perpetual succession. Can you let me know in the chat box what is perpetual succession? Prem Kumar is asking when I read from the study material. Oh, it's okay, Prem Kumar. Now you will understand how to make the notes. So don't worry about that. All right. Very good answers given by all of you. Means it continues for forever. Very good. Means company never dies. So there were 5 directors who were traveling and going for a meeting. All of them died and the company was ABC Private Limited. Will the company come to an end? Law says no. Company has a perpetual succession. Unless and until you will not remove the name of the company from the company's register, it still continues to exist. And company has a common seal. What is the meaning of common seal? Means the signatures that the company uses for its name. So it has a common seal, means either the directors or the director and a company secretary sign it. If you don't have a common seal or you have that thappa of the company, you can use that common seal. That is, company has signed these papers. Is that clear? Perpetual means it exists till dissolution. Very good, Govardhan, Srihari, Rajveer, Pooja, excellent answers. Udya Kumar, company never dies. Khushi, Priyanka, very good, very intelligent students in my class. You have given wonderful answers. Bipin, Pooja, Vishal, very nice. Let me see at the admin portal also if the students are answering. Okay, Soumya, Sandeep, Mr. Sandeep. Yes, Miss Soumya, don't worry. You will be able to learn all the things. Don't worry. Okay, Miss Tripathi, I've read your message. Just remind me during the end of the session. I'll be glad to share things on this also, okay? Ms. Jhalak Chatterjee, Karma, all those who have joined with us on the admin portal, welcome to all of you also, Mr. Ankush, Mr. Teja. All right, correct answers given by all of you. So is that clear, children? What is a company is clear? These are basically the basic characteristics. Barsha is saying, can you explain in Hindi also? So students, let me clear it out to you. Most of the sessions will be in English because we have students from South also. They will not understand Hindi. But जहाँ पे भी आपको ना समझ आए वहां पे कुछ मैं आपको हिंदी में समझा सकती हूँ. But the session will be largely in English. So बेटा perpetual succession for Hindi it means कि कंपनी कभी मरती नहीं. It continues to exist. मतलब हमेशा चलती रहती है. And common seal means signatures होते हैं कंपनी के जो आप ठप्पा लगाते हो. That is a common seal. And when company is created, it has a separate legal existence from its members. Can you name the case law? Those who are CA Foundation students, which case law tells you that a company has a separate legal existence? Do you remember? Do you remember the name of that case law? Which case laws tell you that a company has a separate legal entity? 8 students, 9. Excellent. Salomon versus Salomon and Company Limited. Excellent answers given by all of you. Yes, Mausam Kumari, you can follow these notes, not to worry about that. So company is created with the process of law and it comes to end also by the help of law only. Company can sue and be sued in its own name. Company case कर भी सकती है और company के against case भी हो सकता है. Sue means to file a case. Company can buy, hold and sell the properties in its own name. So if you're a company ABC Private Limited, you can hold properties in the name of ABC Private Limited. Company has a perpetual succession. Members may come and go. Company continues to exist forever. And it is created by law and dissolved also by the process of law. Now let's start with section number 1. Section number 1 tells you what is the title of this act, that is Companies Act. It succeeds the Companies Act 1956. Now it is Companies Act 2013. Does it extend to whole of India? Yes, ma'am, it extends to whole of India. Earlier, you had the exceptions that except Jammu and Kashmir, but now there is no exception. This respective act is applicable to whole of India. Okay. Section 1 came into force and the remaining provisions on different dates through notification. So that is how the act was commended. And section 1 tells you about the extent, applicability, and commencement. Now let's discuss about the applicability of Companies Act. To whom the Companies Act is applicable? Number 1, it is applicable to every company which is incorporated under this act or under any other previous company law. Means if there was a company which was formed in 1973, there was a company which was formed in 1973. This must have been formed under the Companies Act 1956. Can you say that the Companies Act 2013 is applicable to this company also? Yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am? All of you. Yes, ma'am is the correct answer. All right. Very good. Everybody has given the correct answer. Insurance companies, then this act is applicable to all the insurance companies. So if you're doing any insurance business, Companies Act is applicable to those insurance companies, to all the banking companies. So if you have set up a company which is doing the banking, to them also Companies Act is applicable. If you have set up electricity company, to them also Companies Act is applicable. Except where the provisions are inconsistent. Now this is very, very interesting. So it says Companies Act is applicable to insurance companies except where the provisions are inconsistent with the Insurance Act. Means now you have formed up an insurance company, so it is regulated by what? It is regulated by IRDRF. You have formed up a banking company, it is regulated by Banking Regulation Act. You formed up electricity company, Electricity Act is applicable. But where Electricity Act is saying something, so overall Companies Act, how the company has to be set up, formation, section 3 of the Companies Act, 4, 5, 7, how it has to be incorporated, everything will be applicable to the insurance companies and banking and electricity company. But where the provisions are inconsistent means if the respective act is saying something else and Companies Act is saying something else, then they have to listen to their respective act. Say, for example, Companies Act says minimum 2 people if you're a private company. Some in a different provision is written in the Insurance Act. Insurance Act is maybe, I'm just taking an example. Maybe Insurance Act is demanding you have to set up with 4 people. Then there is an inconsistency in the provisions, then you listen to your Insurance Act. If Companies Act is saying something else and Banking Regulation Act is saying something else, then banking companies will have to follow the Banking Regulation Act. So largely Companies Act is applicable to any companies which were formed under previous company law, to insurance, banking and electricity company, except where the provisions are inconsistent with their provisions of their respective act. Any other company governed by any special act for the time being in force, like your different companies which are governed by their act, like ICAI, it is governed under ICAI Act. So different companies that you have under special acts for the time being in force, they are also covered under the Companies Act. Yes, Pooja, priority will be given to the respective act if the provisions are inconsistent with the company law. Absolutely correct. Now we'll start with section 2. We have done section 1 of the Companies Act. Now whole of the chapter is related to section 2. The first chapter is related to the definitions. Around 6 marks question do come from this chapter. So it's an important chapter. Around 10 to 12 marks questions come from chapter number 2. So it varies. At times 6 marks come, at times 4 marks. So first and second chapters are very, very important. Around 10 to 15 marks questions do come from both these chapters. So section 2 gives you the definitions. Yes, we'll be covering all the definitions in my class. Omkar is asking the companies incorporated outside this act, outside India. So Omkar, companies incorporated outside India, you're talking about the foreign companies. So there is a specific act that we covered, companies incorporated outside India. So under that act, we will in detail talk about foreign companies. All right. So let's start with the definition. The first definition, they have given it in the chronological order, the preliminary chapter. So A, B, C, D form, they have given the definitions. First, we'll be starting the first basic definition given under the Act. So if you'll refer to the Bear Act, it is also made in the same form. You all can refer to the Companies Act, the Bear Act. It also written in the same form. The definitions has been given under different chapters. So number 1 is Abridged Prospectus. It is a memorandum containing the silent features of prospectus as may be specified by SEBI, who is Securities and Exchange Board of India. The short form is SEBI. SEBI is the governing body which tells you how the listing of the companies has to be done, how the prospectus will be issued and all these kind of things. It is a regulatory body. All right. So abridged prospectus is the first definition. Now, when we do chapter number 3, we will discuss in detail about what is prospectus, shelf prospectus, red herring, abridged, the number of things. It's a full-fledged chapter. Chapter number 3 में prospectus के बारे में detail में बात करेंगे. But अभी क्योंकि first definition है, तो just for understanding, it is a document. Memorandum means ये एक document है जिसमें prospectus के silent features लिखे हुए हैं. मतलब एक summary है. Whenever the company is going up with a public offer, whenever they are asking the public to invest money in their company, they're inviting subscriptions for the securities, then they issue a prospectus. Now it is very difficult for people to read the whole full-fledged prospectus of 100 to 200 pages because the financial statements, data, so many things is given in the prospectus. So there is an abridged prospectus which contains the summary of the prospectus, basic things of the parts of the prospectus. So that's why it is a memorandum, means it's a document which tells you the basic features what are contained in the prospectus. It's silent features, Rohan. All right. Now let's do the second definition, that is accounting standards. Now accounting standards is something which is very, very interesting. Central government prescribe the standards of accounting or any addendum. Addendum means any attachments related to it as recommended by your own institute, Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. We ourselves as ICAI recommend, which is formed under section 3 of the Chartered Accountants Act. See, I was telling you the special bodies which are governed. So Chartered Accountants Act 1949 governs the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India. So Companies Act is applicable to them also. But here what is trying to tell you, accounting standards are formed in consultation. Central government will take the recommendation from ICAI and they will consult NFRA, NFRA body, that is National Financial Reporting Authority. That is the major body which is taking care of all the financial reporting authority. They will recommend that these are the basic accounting standards which has to be prescribed and followed by different companies. Now, what is the meaning of this word accounting standards? These are basically the standards set up so that the companies follow a uniform method of accounting policies adopted by the companies. Say, for example, there is a method for depreciation. So you have straight line method and WDV method. Remember for depreciation? So accounting standards, specific account. Can you tell me which accounting standard you follow for depreciation? Hurry up, tell me. So accounting standards are guidelines. Yes, absolutely correct. So which accounting deleted? Okay, AS10 for fixed assets. Bhumika, very good. So for depreciation, it has been deleted, but you're following AS10 for fixed assets, right? For depreciation included in that. So you have to follow. Say, for example, AS2 is for inventory. So how the inventory has to be valued. So if A limited company is following some different method, it is not following as per accounting standards. B limited is doing some different methods. So then there will not be any uniformity if you have to compare the data of different companies. So for comparing the data of different companies, a uniformity has to be set up. That's why ICAI, in consultation with central government and after taking recommendations from NFRA, has set up certain accounting standards which every company has to follow. And these accounting standards you will be learning as in a part of your accounts. When you'll be doing CA enter accounts, you will be learning about these respective accounting standards. So addendum, Rosie is asking, ma'am, what is the meaning of addendum? It is basically used as a plural word, means a thing attached. So additional things, either the document, accounting standards, or any addendum means, or any additions to it. So you keep adding anything, keep additions anything. So that is the meaning of addendum. Yes, Priyanka, very good. We have to learn all the names of the AS. That's correct. Now, what is the meaning of alteration? Alteration or alter is very simple. So you went to Levi's shop to buy a pair of jeans. So what do you ask him? He please alter the jeans. Do you say, you tell the tailor that please alter the jeans as per my size? So what is that? What is that alteration? The changes that you're making. Either it's for addition. If your height is tall, you will ask him to increase the length, or if your height is short, you'll ask him to reduce the length. So any addition, omission, or substitution is a different word. Alteration means when you're making any changes in the act. So very basic, simple meaning of alter means to change. Either it is additions or deletions or substitutions also. Substitutions means you're replacing. That is also part of alteration. Now, what is the meaning of articles? Articles means articles of association. These are not that CA intermediate articles who are working with the office. It's not that articles, it is articles of association, AOA, which are framed originally from time to time. So definition of AOA in detail you will do when you go to the chapter number 2. There you discuss in detail about articles of association. Section 4, 5 you will be doing. But here you have to tell me what is the basic meaning of articles of association. Tell me everyone, what is the meaning of AOA? What does articles tells us? Memorandum of association is the major document, which is the basic document of the company, which tells us all the details of the company. Articles tells us about the internal rules and regulations of the company. Very good. Ekam Bram Bram, Vishal, Priyanka, Shifa, Sunil, Harsh, Rohan, Anubhav, Bani Preet Kaur, Pooja, Nisha, everyone has given the correct answers. Bhumika, Omkar, Kushi, good. All right, now let's begin with associate company. Yes, Karthik wants to ask something. Yes, Karthik, you want to speak? Do you have a question? Anyone has any questions till now? Okay, then let's proceed and later you can ask me. Associate company is a very, very interesting, and yes, these are the constitutional documents, correct, Mohan? MOA and AOA are the basic documents of the company. Anyone who is dealing with the company is bound to presume to have read these documents so that you know what the company is actually doing the business. And both these documents are public documents. Once the company is registered, it's formed. These documents are registered. You can go to the MCA website. You can download the MOA and AOA of company. You should read it, and then only you should take a decision of doing business with any company. Yes, these are all clauses, Srihari. You have to learn the clauses. If possible, you can learn them. Otherwise, it's okay, but never write a wrong clause. Govardhan, absolutely correct. Now let's understand what is associate company. Very important definition. Associate company in relation to another company means the company in which other company is having a significant influence but it is not a subsidiary company. What is the meaning of subsidiary company? Ma'am, we don't know. We haven't done yet subsidiary company. Does anyone remembers how do you become a subsidiary company? How much percentage of the shareholding you should be having in order to have a relationship of holding and subsidiary? Yes, Kabyajit, I agree with you. More than 50% is the correct word used. 51% if you're saying, the better word to be used is more than 50%. All right, Harsh, Bhumika, Rohan, all of you, Soumya, Anubhav, Vishal, Akhi, more than one half of the total. 51 is for government. Very good, Vishal. Nagraj, that is again for government company that you're writing. Composition of board of directors, Bhumika. I will explain you when we do about the subsidiary company. But yes, absolutely right. More than 50% of the shareholding, if you're having, that is for your holding subsidiary relationship, which I'll explain you in detail. Don't worry. So more than 50%, again, you all are writing 51%. So Rohit Agarwal, let me come to subsidiary company. There I will explain you this word. But as of now, more than 50% is the correct word to be used. Because if you say 51, it is not 51%. Okay, there is a difference between more than 50% and yes, Uday Kumar, more than 50% of the voting rights. That's great. So company which is having a significant influence means now we are here in associate company, we are talking about less than 50% because it's not a subsidiary company. So you are having the at least 20% of the total voting power. So if you're holding more than 20% of the total voting power of another company, and it is less than 50%. So till 50% or 49%, you are a relationship of associate company with each other. And it also includes a joint venture. Joint venture means where people have jointly taken up the arrangement and they have rights to the net assets of that company. So you and me have opened up a joint venture. So we are associate companies. If my company and your company, we have opened up an jointly we are holding any assets of the company, that is known as joint venture. So number one thing you have to do in this topic is definition of associate company, which says that it has a significant influence, but it is not a subsidiary company. Number two, it includes a joint venture also. Number 3 point is, what is the definition of significant influence? It means at least 20% of the total voting power or participation or control in business decisions. So if there is a company A Limited, it is holding 10% of the voting power of B Limited, and it is controlling all the business decisions of B Limited. Now, it is not holding 20%, but it is controlling or participating in the business decisions of B Limited. Can we say A and B are associate company? Yes, very good. Everybody. Bipin has said no. I don't know why. But yes is the correct answer. Very good. Everyone. Amazing. Out of 108 students, at least 20-25 students are very regularly answering. So that's great. And I expect everyone to send the answers because that means that you're understanding the things very nicely. So yes, it will be associate companies because either you're holding 20% of the shareholding or you're participating in the business decisions. Any one of the things you're doing, you become the associate company. Point number 4, which is very important in this topic is, if you're holding the shares in a fiduciary capacity, what is the meaning of fiduciary? A person who is holding a legal relationship of trust with one or more parties. He's basically taking care of your money or other assets of the another person. Then he shall not be counted for determining the relationship of associate company. Now, let us understand the meaning of the word fiduciary. So let's take a very basic example. Let's use the name from the audience, somebody who is here in the admin query also. Okay, Miss Soumya. Miss Soumya is going abroad and she has a lot of gold in her house. And now she wants to lend the gold to Mr. Rahul M. He's also a student of her class. So Soumya goes to Rahul and she tells him that I'm going abroad. Can you keep this gold in my absence? And can you take care of this gold when I'm away? Now, can we say that Rahul M has become owner of this gold? Yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am? What kind of transaction we have done over here? If I ask you, you have done CA foundation, you must be knowing what no, ma'am, is the correct answer. Kind of a bailment kind of transaction where the other person is just taking care of your things. Very good, Bani Preet Kaur. Yes, Guram, Sumit, Shriya, Shelja Rajput. New names are coming up now. Naveen. Custody has been given. Nisha Singh. Excellent. Good. He's just taking care. So here Rahul is just taking care of the gold of Miss Soumya in a fiduciary capacity. Similarly, a parent has a lot of money left with him, and the son who is going to inherit this property, but the son is not a major, he is minor. So a trust has been formed, and that company, a trust in the kind of a trust is holding the money for that child. So that is a fiduciary capacity. Any legal relationship that you're having as a trustee, you're holding the money of another person, then that kind of percentage will not be counted for determining the relationship of associate company. So let's take an example. A Limited is holding shares in B Limited 23%. Is it an associate company? Yes or no? Yes, ma'am, it is an associate company because more than 20% you're holding. But if we say that A Limited is holding 18% in his own name and 15% he's holding in a fiduciary capacity in B Limited. Then is it an associate company? Yes or no? No. Why? Because it is less than 20%. 18% will only be seen. Fiduciary capacity will not be counted. Easy, simple, understood all of you? Great. All right. So let's do the problems now. ABC Limited has allotted equity shares with voting rights to XYZ Limited 15 crores and convertible preference shares of 10 crores. After that, the total share capital of the company, is 100 crores. So ABC XYZ is holding 15 crores and 10 crores of the preference share out of the total capital of 100 crores. Can we say that XYZ is an associate company? Yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am? And also you have to define the associate company. I give you 2 minutes. Just think about the answer. What should be the correct answer and write it in the chat. Very nice answers given by all of you. For counting the relationship, if you're having equity shares, voting rights will only be seen since it is less than 20%. Absolutely correct. Almost everyone has given the correct answer, but now becomes the presentation of the answer, how you have to present the answer. So I have underlined also equity shares and convertible preference shares. But children, here you could have given the exemption that if we assume that preference shares are also having a voting right, then yes, you could have said it associate company also. But I think that is absolutely correct what you have given out, because equity shares with voting rights has been specifically mentioned. So we are assuming that preference shares are not having any voting rights in this respective question. So first you will give the definition, section 2, clause 6 of the Companies Act. If you don't remember the section, you can simply write section 2. All the definitions of each and every act is given under section 2 only. So if you write section 2 of the Companies Act, then so it's fine. You don't remember section 2, you simply write as per the provisions of the Companies Act. Associate companies definition you will give, which we have just done. Significant influence, meaning you will tell the meaning of joint venture. Now this is known as provisions of the case. What are the provisions? First paragraph will always about the provisions. We law ki provisions kya? Legal provisions. Then second paragraph is always about the facts of the case. What is given in the question? ABC Limited has allotted equity shares with voting right 15 crore and this much out of the total. This information is also very important. 1 mark you will get for this if you have written the definitions correct. 1 mark you'll get for the facts of the case. And if your conclusion is correct, you'll get 1 mark more. So 3 out of 3 is given if you write the answer in the same way. But if I'll not, what happened? If I'll not write in the same way, then that's the reason why my marks get deducted. So XYZ is only holding 15%, which is less than 20%. Therefore, it is not an associate company. Everyone is clear about this. So presentation of answers does matter. So this is what I was saying. If you assume, if we have assumed that he is not having the voting rights, if they have taken the separate assumption, then you can give this answer also, but it's okay. I think this one is absolutely correct. Another question in front of you on the screen. Samriti, what are you asking? Usually we read as section 2, subsection 6, but why for section 2 definitions alone? So these are all clauses which are given, Samriti. This is specifically because all the provisions and definitions of Companies Act, when you go to the chapter preliminary, all the definitions which are going to basically, it is all about interpretation. So it tries to tell you that this is the definition which we are going to use in the further chapters. You'll be reading the word articles, you'll be reading the words associate company, you'll be reading the words net worth when we go to the chapter of CSR. So what is that net worth? So in different clauses, they have already defined so that you give the same meaning to that word which we have explained in chapter number 1. Yes, Guram, that is absolutely correct. Convertible and non-convertible. Uday Kumar, you don't have to, who is asking? Yes, Samsung, you don't have to go into much of the details of what is convertible debentures, what is non-convertible. Basically, non-convertible, which cannot be converted into shares. But when we do chapter of share capital and debentures, there you can understand in detail about this. Very good. All those who have given the correct answer, Jayendra, Nagaratna, Bani, Sumit, yes, because here non-convertible debentures will not be considered. That is just an additional information. Holding and allotment of non-convertible debenture has no relevance in determining the associate company's relationship. Again, you will give the definitions. Then you give facts of the case. Since the requirement is not met, conclusion is that they are not the associate companies. I hope everyone is clear. Yes, Priyanka, that's correct definition. Now let's do one or more definitions and then we'll take a small break. What is auditing standards? Auditing standards is again your basic, like the accounting standards are set up by taking the recommendation from ICAI and examination done by NFRA. Children, NFRA is a reporting authority. When we will be doing chapter number 9, 10, accounts of companies and audit of companies, there we will discuss in detail about this National Financial Reporting Authority. So there they have explained in detail about this body. As of now, simply understand that these three lines that I have underlined over here, it is very important to mention when you write the definition of auditing standards or accounting standards, that CG will give the prescribe these standards, taking the recommendation from ICAI and after examination and recommendation made by the NFR. Again, like you have the accounting methods and policies. Ma'am, can you please explain first question? Sandhya, what you have not understood, beta, please you can ask me. Ma'am, when is convertible debentures at account? No, Shubham Timari, there is nothing about. See, it is written holding and allotment of non-convertible debentures. Debentures has no relevance. Equity shares with voting rights are counted for the associate company relationship. Sandhya, you can see the answer of the first question also. If you have not understood, you can just refer it. All right. Okay. So auditing standards is also clear. Mr. Devendra is asking something. Let me read it out. So, Mr. Devendra, if you'll simply write preference shares, we are considering that they are convertible or they're having the voting rights. You can write that assumption also, then also your answer will be correct. But since in this very question, they have specifically told you that equity shares with the voting rights, so we will consider only them and it will not be counted as the associate company relationship. Whatever assumptions you are giving, you should make sure that the assumptions are correct. Accordingly, marks will be given to you. Now let's discuss a very interesting topic, that is classification of capital. So in different places, they have defined what is authorized capital, what is issued capital. So I have tried to put them, not getting auditing standard. Okay. Samsung, I'll explain you. Auditing standards and yes, Naveen Kumar, they're absolutely same. The ethics that you use in the auditing. So like for accounting standards are giving the accounting methods and policies to be used for accounting. Similarly, we have auditing standards. Why you're not understanding? Because you are yet to start with the group 2, which is talks about auditing. So in auditing also, we have different SAPs, that is your standard practicing of auditing, where they have told you how the internal control regulation has to be done, what are the procedure for different auditing methods to be followed, how the sample has to be selected. जो भी वहाँ auditing में पढ़ाया जाएगा ना, उसका भी एक standardized practice है auditing में भी. So जैसे accounting standards accounts की policies के बारे में बताते हैं, इसी तरह से auditing standards, how to do the audit, how you are doing, what is the meaning of audit? Do you know that? I should have asked you what is the meaning of audit. Even direct entry students who are BCom done and even CA foundation, they must be having basic knowledge about what is the meaning of word audit. Audit means to examine the books of accounts, right? So once you become chartered accountant, this is your role that you will be doing. Most of the cases, if you go into practice, you will be doing the auditing work. Yes, independent examination of books. Checking. Yes, good, nice. Correct answers given by all of you. So when we do these checking, when we see whether the company has complied with the rules and regulations, we have to follow certain standard set of practices. So that is auditing standards, how you have to do the audit, these standards will take. I hope now everyone is clear about this. Okay. Okay, now let's move to the classification of capital. Number 1 is your authorized share capital. Authorized share capital is your maximum amount of capital that the company has thought that we'll be raising. Say, for example, they have decided that we'll be raising 5 crores of capital to do the business. Now, this is the maximum limit which is set up in the memorandum of association. When you do the association clause, their authorized share capital is mentioned that this is the maximum amount which with I'm going to do the business. But do you think today I'm opening up the company, is it so easy to raise the 5 crore immediately? This is the maximum limit that I have set. Say, for example, I thought to issue 3 crores of capital to the public and the public subscribed for 2 crores of. So we are inviting through prospectus that 3 crore, so 30 lakh shares for rupees 10 each, you can take up in the market. but people only took up 20 lakh shares. And out of those 20 lakh shares, 10 lakh shares were called up at the rate of rupees 10. But actually, the paid up amount was 10 lakh shares at the rate of rupees 8. So what is my paid up capital? My paid up capital actually comes out to be 8 lakh rupees. After adjusting all the calls in advance and calls in arrears, this is something which you have been doing in class 11, 12 also from accounts. So that is your authorized share capital, which is shown in the balance sheet, issued share capital actually given to the public for subscription, taken up by the public, then paid and unpaid, and how much amount has actually been called up and paid by the people is your paid up capital. So if you're investing in the company, if you're investing, taking up the shares in Reliance, will you see the authorized share capital or will you see the actual paid up capital of the company? Tell me in the chat box. What capital should be seen? Priyanka, that is part of your memorandum of association. We'll tell you about how to limits has been set up up there. Okay. Anubhav, Aman, Mohan, absolutely correct. All of you, paid up share capital of the company has to be seen because this is just an imaginary figure that you have set up, the limit that you have set up. Actually, the paid up capital is the main capital with which you are doing the business. So this is the paid up capital which has to be seen for doing any kind of business with any company. Is that clear, children? One more definition we'll do. What is the meaning of body corporate or corporation? So basically, body corporate is a company. So company and body corporate, what is the difference between them? So in many places, we'll be using the word body corporate. Company was a company formed in India. Now your answer comes, somebody was asking about companies incorporated outside India. So when you talk about company incorporated outside India means a foreign company. So when we use the word body corporate, it means company, the definition that we did in the beginning of the session, and also includes the foreign company. So body corporate means company, which is Indian company, which is formed in India, and company, which is incorporated outside India is also a body corporate, but it will not include two things. Number one, cooperative society is not included in body corporate definition. And number two, any other body corporate which the central government has notified. So basically, body corporate includes foreign company, but not cooperative societies. Simple. Can we say LLP is a body corporate? Yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am? Tell me. Partnership is not a body corporate. True or false, this statement that I've written over here? I have written that LLP is a body corporate, but partnership is not a body corporate. True or false? Everyone agrees? I can read one false. Let me talk to that person. Janvi, why have you said false? Just like that, huh? Everybody has said true. That's correct because LLP is also body corporate, and but partnership is a firm. It is not a company. Yes, Harsh, it has the features of companies when it is incorporated. I think let's take a small break over here and then we'll continue the basic definitions. I hope you're all enjoying the session. So let's take a small break and then we'll continue. Students, welcome back. Let's proceed ahead. Naveen Kumar has sent a query. Ma'am, companies incorporated in India are called companies and incorporated outside. No, you cannot say that the companies incorporated outside India are only called body corporate. That is not correct. Even the company incorporated in India is a body corporate, and it includes, means even the company which is formed outside India, it is also a body corporate. Have you understood? Both of them will be considered as a body corporate. All right, now let's proceed with another definition, that is books of accounts. Books of accounts in case of other companies and companies specified under section 148. 148, children, talks about the cost audit. So when we do further sections, chapter number 10, there you will be doing in detail about cost audit. Here, what you simply have to understand is that what is the definition of books of accounts? Number one, it includes receipts and expenditure account. Can you tell me what is the meaning of receipts and expenditure account? Can we call it as P&L account? So whatever profit and loss account that you make, that is a part of your receipts and expenditure account. Okay. And sales and purchase, part of your trading account, and assets and liabilities is part of your balance sheet. So basically, he's trying to tell you that all your trading P&L account and balance sheet is known as books of accounts. Whatever books you're preparing includes all these books of accounts where you make all your entries, record your expenditures, record your incomes, and all these things. But if you are doing your cost audit and you're required to maintain cost records as per section 148, then it will include the items of cost specified under section 1, 2, and 3 of section 140. Now, this is simple, one line that you have to learn. Other companies' definition hame as it is learn karni hai, whichever it is given. So, books of accounts definition for the company specified under section 148, 4 items. Other companies, only receipt and expenditure, sale and purchase, asset and liabilities. Clear? Then comes to basic definition of charge. What is the meaning of charge? Charge means any security given. Say, for example, if I have taken loan from a bank and I have given them gold as a security. Now I have created a lien on my property. Lien means a right has been created. Bank has a right on my gold that tomorrow, if I do not pay the loan back, bank can sell my gold and can recover their money. So a charge, interest, or a lien has been created on the assets of the company. That is the meaning of charge. Who is a chartered accountant? Chartered accountant is defined under Chartered Accountants Act, who is holding a valid degree of certificate of practice. Then comes your simple definitions of CEO, CFO. CFO is a person who is an officer of the company who has been given this designation. CEO is Chief Executive Officer. CFO is your Chief Financial Officer. Both these definitions are read with the appointment of key managerial personnel. That is a very important definition. That is KMP. Okay, that is a very, very important definition. So both the CEO and CFO are included in the definition of KMPs. Now let's read company incorporated under this Act or any previous company law. This we have already done the definition of company. We have also done Reliance Industries formed under 1973, company formed under 1981. All these companies, to these companies, Companies Act 2013 will be applicable. Earlier, 1956 was applicable. Now 2013 will be applicable. Company limited by shares and company limited by guarantee. What is the meaning of company limited by shares? So here the liability of the company is limited. Under partnership, we have unlimited liability. Under LLP and under companies, the liability is limited. So one is limited by shares, another is limited by guarantee. So when we say that our liability is limited by shares, that means company having the liability of its members limited in the memorandum on the unpaid amount of the shares held by them. So if there are members A, B, and C, and there are share of rupees 10 per each. Now A has paid rupees 8 per share. How much amount is left unpaid on the shares? Rupees 2 per share is unpaid. So what is the liability of Mr. A? Tomorrow when the liability of the company arises, Mr. A will only be liable to pay up till rupees 2 per share. All right. Meera, that topic we will discuss under section 148, how the cost audit is done. Okay. Yes, they can do it. All right. Clear? And what about the students in the portal? Yes, Soumya, correct answer. Jhilik Chatterjee. Sonalin. Keep giving your answers. Yes, 2 per share is the correct answer. Good. All right. In case of a company limited by guarantee means I have given you the fixed amount that, okay, tomorrow if the liability of the company arises, A says I'm going to contribute 5,000 rupees. B says I'll contribute 3,000 rupees. C says I'll contribute 2,000 rupees. So here, company limited by guarantee means the memorandum has fixed the amount of the guarantee and the liability is going to arise only at the time of winding up of the company. Means जब company बंद हो रही है, that time your liability arises. But in case of a company limited by shares, during the duration of the company, liability can arise at any time. All right. So 2 points of differences. Limited by shares में your liability is limited on the unpaid amount. Limited by guarantee में fixed amount. Limited by shares, liability arises during the continuation of the company. Liability limited by guarantee arises at the time of winding up of the company. Clear? Everyone is clear? Any doubts in these type of companies? No doubts? Okay, let's move ahead. Now comes your definition of control. How you're trying to control the other body. It includes the right to control means appointing majority of the directors or controlling the management or policy decisions of the company. It is an inclusive definition and very relevant for understanding holding and subsidiary companies. So when you're controlling more than 20% of the shares, you were associate company. Now we are going to understand when you're controlling more than 50% of the shares, then you become holding and subsidiary relationship. How is the holding subsidiary relationship happens? Number one, if you're controlling the composition of board of directors, or you are controlling more than 1/2 of the total voting power, or your subsidiary is a subsidiary, means you are my subsidiary company and you're further holding any other company. So that company will also become my subsidiary companies. So number one, if I'm controlling the composition of, see, these are major subsidiaries, international acquisitions, Tata Steel Europe, Tata Steel Thailand, all these are subsidiaries. And they further have Tata Sponge Iron Limited, Tata Metallics, all these are because you're holding more than either 50% of the share capital or you're trying to control the board of directors. What is the meaning of controlling the composition of board of directors? Means appointment and removal of board of directors. You are deciding how the directors are to be appointed and how the directors are removed. Then control is in your hand. If there is a company AB Limited, if AB Limited is appointing directors of CD Limited, then can we say CD Limited is subsidiary company of AB Limited? Yes, ma'am. Why? What is the meaning of inclusive definition? Inclusive means it includes, Harshman means it includes the same definition of holding and subsidiary. So the word control has been defined so that you can understand holding and subsidiary relationship. Absolutely correct. All those who have given correct answers. If I say AB Limited takes all the decisions for the removal of the directors, then also they are holding and subsidiary. Okay. If I tells you there is a company A Limited, which is holding more than 35% of the shares of B Limited, can we say B Limited is subsidiary company? Mahalakshmi said yes. Dimple said yes. Others all have said no. No is the correct answer. Why are you saying yes? 35% is not holding subsidiary. More than 50% is holding subsidiary, children. Yes, more than 50%. Yes, it is an associate company. Absolutely correct. If A Limited is holding 53% shares of B Limited. Can we say that it is holding and subsidiary? Who is holding and who is subsidiary? A Limited is holding more than 53% of B Limited. Tell me, who is subsidiary, who is holding? A is subsidiary. Oh my God. A is holding. Yes. B Limited is subsidiary. Yes, absolutely correct. So you have understood, that's great, but it has major points which I'm going to do with you. Subsidiary company includes any body corporate. So means any foreign company is also included in the definition of subsidiary company. Layer means in relation to subsidiary or subsidiaries. What is the meaning of layer? Means A Limited is holding 53% shares in B Limited. Let me use this. A Limited is holding 53% in B Limited. So here A is holding and B is subsidiary. Right? Everyone agrees to this. Now, if B Limited is further holding 54% shares in C Limited, can we say C Limited is subsidiary of A Limited? Yes, ma'am, or no, ma'am? Everyone has to tell me. So we can say that it is also a subsidiary company. If you're having a subsidiary company is further holding in, if subsidiary company is holding further in any other company, then that company will also become my subsidiary. If a retail holding share 51%. So 51% is not the criteria, child. It is more than 50%. So when you do in percentages, we'll be doing certain questions. Sometimes the percentage comes to be more than 50.6%. Then you are holding and subsidiary. So say, for example, there are 100 shares. Then 50 means 51 has to be taken. Not the percentage. I'm saying if there are 100 shares of any company, then what is the 50% of 100? There are 100 shares, okay? 50% will be 50 shares. So that means 51 has to be held, then you become holding subsidiary. If there are 1000 shares, what is the 50%? 500 shares. So that means if you're holding 501 shares, you become holding subsidiary. There are 2000 shares. What is the 50%? 1000 shares. You're holding 1001 in another company, you become subsidiary. Now, when you say 500.1, Sumit, so 0.1 cannot be there. No, shares cannot be. You have to have complete share. 0.5, half a share you cannot take. So if your number of shares, if you're talking, these are number of shares. But when you talk about percentage, then yes, even if the percentage comes out to be 50.5%, then also it is yes, a holding and subsidiary. Clear? Everyone is clear about that? So no company shall have more than 2 layers of subsidiaries. So you cannot have more than 2 layers of subsidiaries, but a company which is incorporated outside India with the subsidiaries, these are the specified companies, banking companies, NBFCs, insurance and government companies, they can have the more subsidiaries as per the laws of their country. So the companies which are incorporated outside India, they are foreign companies. They have to follow the laws of their respective country also. So for any Indian company, you cannot have more than 2 layers of subsidiaries, but specified companies like banking, NBFCs, insurance, and government companies, which are the companies which have been incorporated outside India, they can have the subsidiaries as per the laws of such countries. Okay, these specified companies can have more than 2 layers of subsidiaries also, but others cannot have more than 2 layers of subsidiaries. Now comes the time to do certain important questions. So here is the question in front of you on the screen. The paid-up share capital of ABC Private Limited is 1 crore, consisting of 8 lakh equity shares and 2 lakh cumulative preference shares. Okay. XYZ and BCL are holding 3 lakh equity shares and 1.5 lakh equity shares in AVS. XYZ and BCL are the subsidiaries of TSR Private Limited. You have to examine whether AVS is a subsidiary of TCR. First, do the first part of the question, then we will solve the second part. I give you 2 minutes to think about the answer. Think carefully and then write your answers. Very good. Few of you have given the answer also. So how you have to determine the relationship? Oh, first is no, second is yes. Mahalakshmi has solved both the cases. Answer would be the same in second condition. Okay, okay. Don't go to the second part. Be slow. Gradually, we're going to progress. There will be time when I'll be asking you to give all the answers together. Okay. So let's see how you have done the calculations. What is the paid up share capital total? 1 crore, out of which 8 lakh equity shares and 2 lakh preference shares. And now we have to see how much is your 3 lakh and 1.5 lakh respectively these companies are holding. First of all, whenever such questions come, you have to write the definition, even if the examiner is not asking you, but the provisions of the act. First paragraph will be provisions of the law. That is, a holding company is one which is having control over another company, whereas subsidiary company is one on which the control is exercised. A company is considered to have a control when it is either controlling the composition of board of directors or it is having the control of more than one half of the voting power. In the respective question, XYZ and BCL, they are the subsidiaries because they are having the control of 4,50,000 in aggregate of total 8 lakhs. So out of 8 lakh, 4 lakh is the 50%. They are having 4.5, more than 50%. Therefore, yes, it is a holding company because it is holding more than half of the total voting power through its subsidiary, and it also becomes the holding company of AVS Limited. I hope the first point is clear to everyone. Yes, yes, yes. Udaya Kumar, absolutely. You have written the proper conclusion also. It's okay, Priyanka. Just keep on reading slowly the answer and you'll understand. Let's do the second part and then we'll come back to this. Now, would your answer be different if TCR Limited has 8 out of 10 directors on the board of directors of AVS Private Limited? Now it says if TCR is considered to be a holding company. Now, if it is having 8 out of 10 directors, again, it will become holding. Since in such scenario, it is having control over composition of board of directors, again, it becomes. So in both the cases, it does remain the holding company. So TCR Limited, for first part, he has asked, AVR is subsidiary of TCR Private Limited. So they said, yes, TCR is a holding majority of the shares. So through its subsidiaries, it is becoming the holding company of AVS Limited. Are you clear? First part, AVS is becoming subsidiary. Why it is becoming? Because through its subsidiary, it is holding in that company. It is not directly holding. It has its own subsidiaries. Through them, they are holding. And it says if it is not the case, if it is controlling the board of directors, in second case, they are applying the first situation. Rohan is asking why separate holding is not calculated. So Rohan, they are trying to explain you that there are two companies which are already the subsidiaries of these companies. XYZ and BCL are subsidiaries of TCR Private Limited. That means TCR is already holding more than 50% in XYZ and in BCL. Now together they are holding more than 50% in AVS. So it is the same case. A is holding more than 50% in B is holding more than C in C. So C becomes subsidiary of A. Is that clear? Let's do one more question of holding subsidiary. I had one more for you. Okay, let's do first private and public company, then we'll come to one. We have certain questions in the module also. If you want, we can practice some of the questions from the study material also. Let me just open for all of you. Okay. So here is your subsidiary and holding. You'll be having these questions. Right. So this is your subsidiary company's definition, and this is your authorized share capital that I've just discussed with you. You can refer to this also. ABC Limited was registered with the registrar with an authorized capital of 2 crores, where the share is of rupees 10 each. So that means 2 crore of the shares. And how much they have subscribed is your 10 lakhs, issued capital 7 lakhs, how much shares have been taken. So this is an ideal example to understand that definition of types of capitals that we have just discussed in the class. And this is your subsidiary holding definition. We have already covered this. Fiduciary capacity will not be counted as we have done in your associate company. Similarly, here also fiduciary capacity will not be counted. Another example, number 11, I'll be doing with you when we do small companies. So let's do small company from here. We don't have any more questions related to holding subsidiary. Deepdas, you will get all these questions in the presentation. I'll be uploading these presentations from the portal, Board of Studies app. You can download it, okay? So what is the meaning of small company? Now, it is a very, very important definition. What is the meaning of small company? Small company is a company other than public company. So small company is always a private company. Keep writing down these points. Small company is always a private company. It can never be a public company. Point number 2, the paid up share capital does not exceed 50 lakh rupees or such higher amount as may be prescribed, but it shall not be more than 10 crores. Don't worry, it's little complicated definition, but you don't have to worry. You'll understand once we are done with it. So there is a paid up share capital limit. It should not exceed 50 lakh rupees and or such higher amount as may be prescribed, but that shall not be more than 10 crores. And now the limit is and. Earlier it was using the word or. Now it is using the word and. What is the third point? Turnover point. First is paid up share capital. It shall not be less than 50 lakhs. Maximum it can go up till 10 crores. And what is the turnover limit? It shall not be more than 2 crores. Maximum it can go 100 crores. Now, what did government said? It says or such higher amount as may be prescribed. So government has set the limit of 50 lakh rupees or such higher amount. Means they said that we have the power to raise this amount, but we will not raise it more than 10 crores. Now, for your ease, what the Act has done, they have simply told you that you don't have to do anything for the subclause 1 and 2. We have simply replaced the amounts, that is paid up share capital has to be seen for less than 4 crores. And if your turnover is less than 40 crores, then yes, you are a small company. So you don't have to learn all these provisions that I've just read for you. It has simply clarified the subclause 1 and 2 of section Clause 85 of Section 2, paid up and turnover shall not exceed 4 crores and 40 crores. They have the power to set up it till 10 crores and 100 crores. Now they have set up, use this power, and they have set up the limit of 4 crores and 40 crores. If you're falling within this limit and you are a private company, then you become a small company. Everybody understood? So there is a company ABC Limited having a paid up share capital of 2.5 crores. Please keep writing down all these questions. They will help you when you will be studying later on. And the turnover is 3 crores. Is it a small company? Yes or no? Kushi, we have to write this limit, 4 crores and 40 crores. Everyone has said yes, ma'am. And the answer is no. It is wrong. You know why? Because ABC Limited is a public company, and public company can never be a small company. What have I written? ABC Limited. Because ABC, because it's not a private company. Yes. Have you understood, children? So these are the silly mistakes that we try to make in the exam. That's why I make sure that you do n number of examples. Whatever examples I'm writing down in the class, keep writing down in your notebooks. They're very important. Now there is a company AB Private Limited, which is having a paid up share capital of 5 crores and turnover is 30 crores. Is it a small company? Yes or no? Now I have taken the example of private company. No, ma'am. Why? Why it is no? Because both the limits have to be seen, ma'am. We are not, we understood now you're just trying to play games with us, huh? Because both limits of 4 crores and 40 crores have to be seen. Correct? Now another example, AB Private Limited is a subsidiary of CD Limited and AB Private Limited has paid up share capital 2.5 crores, which is less than 4 crores, and turnover 30.5 crores, which is less than 40 crores. Can we say AP Private Limited is a small company? Shriya is saying, ma'am, your question is not visible. I'm writing it down on the screen. Can't you see? Others have given the answer also. No, ma'am, is the correct answer. Wonderful. Why? Because to holding and subsidiary company, small company is not applicable. Is that clear, children? Everyone is clear on these points. So here it is written over here. I hope you have noted down all these points. Even if you have not noted down, you can go to the video again, just pause it and just make sure that you have written the notes. So small company provisions is number one, not applicable to holding and subsidiary company. It is also not applicable to Section 8 companies and any other body corporate which is governed by special acts like ICAI Act or any other special acts. They're not applicable to them. And you can include D point also. It is not applicable to public companies so that you remember it. If you're a public company, then you can never be a small company. It always is a private limited company. And what is Section 8 company? Can anyone tell me what is Section 8 company? Do you remember? What is Section 8 company? Non-profit organizations, all right. Where do you get the license from? You'll be doing all these things in chapter number 2. Who gives you the license? Central government gives you the license. Is it a public company or a private company? Section 8 company. You don't use the word limited and private limited. Very good. Somebody saying public, somebody saying private. You don't use the word public and private. You get converted into public and private if you make any default. No, Meera, it's not 1% company. Section 8 company is different. So you learn about OPC, that is 1% company, and Section 8 companies in chapter number 2, that is incorporation of companies. Now let's come to another very, very important definition of today's class, that is public and private company. First, what is a public company, which is not a private company? So you have to understand what is a private company, because any company which is not a private company is always a public company. There is no limit set up for the minimum paid up capital, and subsidiary of a public company is always a public company. This is an important point. I will explain you in a while. Minimum 7 people are required and maximum unlimited. So if ABC Limited is a public company, how many people are required minimum? Minimum 7 and maximum no limit. But if I'm opening an AB Private Limited company, how many minimum people are required? For a private company, how many minimum people are required? Very good. 2. And what is the maximum limit in case of a private company? 200. So private company is a company which limits the number of members to 200. Number one point is limits the number of members to 200. Number 2 point is restricts the right to transfer the share. Restricts means you're not freely allowed to transfer your shares to another person if you're a private company. And third is prohibits inviting public for the shares, prohibits inviting the securities from the public. So if you're a company which has limited the number of members to 200, and there is a restriction on the transfer of shares, and there is a prohibition in going to the public, then you are a private company. Any company which is not having these limits is a public company. Any company which is not having these limits. So minimum 7 is required and there is no limit on the maximum. You are allowed to transfer your shares. You are not prohibited. You can go to the public through prospectus. You can ask the money. That is absolutely clear. Then you can public company. Then you become a public company. Deep Das, where have you come up with postal ballot? It is a method of voting which we do in the chapter of MGT. Okay. How many directors? Again, Priyanka, directors is part of your CA final. You don't have to worry about the directors over here. Except OPC. Yes, Srihari, excellent point. In case of an OPC, OPC is also a private company. But there, in case of OPC, how many people are there? First, let me ask the class. In case of OPC means one person company. एक बंदा जो company बना रहा है, पहले sole proprietor था, अब उसे right मिल गया कि to encourage the entrepreneurship, you can also form a company. One member. And you can have one nominee also, if you remember. One member and one nominee who will take over the company when he is not there. Okay. So, and it is also, OPC is always a private limited company. So if you have opened up an OPC, say for example, A OPC. So the name will be A, in bracket, you will write OPC and you will write the words private limited company. This is how you name the OPC. This is how you name the OPC company. Priya is asking difference between entrepreneurship and OPC. Then Mozi is asking proprietor. So this is all related to the topic of OPC. If I start explaining you, then I'll be going in chapter number 2, which is taking care of this topic. But since you have asked the question, so Priya, entrepreneurship means I am starting my business. Okay, I am a sole proprietor. I'm an individual. All right, then Mozi, sole proprietor means I am the whole sole owner of my business. The individual who is doing a business, a single person. Okay, Priyanka, sure, we'll try doing that. When I go and form my partnership with Mr. B, then we are into partnership. Then I'm not a proprietor. Okay. When I am doing individually as a business, then I'm a proprietor. Proprietor means a single person who is doing the business by himself. Now your answer to the query, Priya. Entrepreneurship means we want people to come up with innovative business ideas. Very good, Pooja. Coming up with different business ideas. We want you to encourage entrepreneurship. Means we want people to start up their own startups. But people face a problem being a sole proprietor is that you have unlimited liabilities. Say, for example, if I'm running a grocery store, I'm an individual, I'm running a grocery store, then I have to bear all the unlimited liability of my store, whatever I'm purchasing, whatever I'm buying. But if I form a company, then my company is different. I am different. The concept of separate legal entity comes up and my liability becomes limited. So this benefit has been given to a single person that you can also go and set up a company. Although you're a single person, then also you can set up a company. All right. Okay. Thank you, Priya. I'm glad you have understood. And rest of the OPC is part of your chapter 2. You understand when you do that. All right. I hope public and private company is clear to everyone. This point, subsidiary of a public company shall deem to be a private company. I'm going to take up. So if you are a private company, AB Private Limited, that means you have in your articles of association, you have restricted your number of members to 200. You have put restriction on transfer of shares. And also you have prohibits invitation from public for security. Now this AB Private Limited is a subsidiary of ABC Limited. What is ABC Limited? ABC Limited is a public company. Am I right? Yes, ma'am. And public company is holding a private company. So when public company is a holding a private company, or we can say when private company is a subsidiary of public company, then that private company shall also deemed to be a public company. Means now AB Private Limited shall also be treated as a public company for all the compliance related work. Means now you cannot take the advantage of the private company benefits. Although in your articles you will follow these points, but if a company which is holding you is a public company, then this private company shall also deemed to be a public company. Means it shall also be treated as a public company for all the compliance related work. Is that clear? Yes, but in its article, it will always be treated as private company. Very good. Now, another interesting points over here are, what is the limit of 200? You will not be counting the past and present employees. So if in the limit of 200, we have past employees 20, then the number of members will be 180. If we have present employees of the company who are the shareholders 10, then the number of members will be 170. Means whosoever are the present and past employees, they are not counted in the limit of 200. But again, a twist. If you were a shareholder, of the company in 2020, and now in 2025, you have become the employee of the company, then yes, you will be counted in the limit of 200 members. So if you are a shareholder and you're an employee, then you're not counted. But if you were previously a shareholder and now you have become the employee of the company, then you will be counted, because past and present employees, what you have to see is that if he is an employee as a shareholder, then he will not be counted. Okay, somebody is writing, ma'am, past employees. So that is what I told Mausam Kumari. If you have been a shareholder and now you have become employee, so that will be counted. ESOPs, yes, ESOPs are issued to the employees. So that's why they're not counted. Ekambram, that's correct. Prem Kumar, for the writing of the words limited is not required, but it is clearly said that it shall deem to be a public company. So these kind of questions can come as a part of MCQ, but what compliance is required to be done by you, that is not part of your question. Why private company limits to 200? That you will have to read Anil, Companies Act provisions, how it has been made. Yes, joint holding. Jandra, I'm coming to that point. So somebody is asking why it has been fixing the limit of 200. There is a difference between a public company and a private company. Public company has been given the freedom to have as many number of people, but private company means a small company. It is not operating on a large scale. That's why the limit has been fixed, and the present limit that they have fixed is 200. Okay. Let me see if we can do. And what about the joint holding? The joint holding by the shareholders in private company, that is also treated as one. So here is your points of private company. Private company minimum paid up share capital, no limit has been set up as of now, restricting the shares, except OPC, number of members at 200. Can we have OPC also 200 number of members? No, ma'am, we will not have, because OPC only have 1%. And if the shares are being held jointly, they will be treated as a single member. So there are 10 shareholders who are holding the shares jointly. So they will be, so two people are holding one share together. So they will be counted as 5 members. Okay. Person who are in the employment, present employees, and who have been formerly in the employment of the company and were members of the company. See, very important line. You were employee when you were member. Member means you were shareholder of the company while in that employment and have continued. So I told you an example. If you were not an employee and you were shareholder, then you will be counted. But if you were in the employment and then you were member also, then you will not be counted. Past and present employees is the simple thing to remember, that even if previously you were employees, then you will not be counted, and present employees will also not be counted in the number of members. Prohibits the invitation to public. Requirement of minimum paid up capital will not be applicable to Section 8 companies. Above exemption is not okay. You can leave this. Where are the questions? Okay, descriptive questions we're going to do. So here is the question related to small company first you will do, and then you will do related to private company. Nobody is going to cheat from the module because you will have to send me the answers right now. MNP Private Limited is a company registered under the Companies Act with a paid up share capital of 2 crore and turnover 60 crore. Is it a small company? Apply the provisions of the Companies Act. Can it avail the status of small company? Number one. And second, what if the answer if the turnover was 30 crores? Absolutely correct. So first part is no. Second part is yes. Correct, correct, correct. I don't have okay. Good. Absolutely correct. Great answers given. Now you have to read this question with me. Flora and Fauna are registered as a public company and they are having 230 members in the company. 50 are their directors and relatives, 15 employees, 10 ex-employees, 5 couples who are holding the shares jointly in the name of husband and wife. How many members shall I count them? If they are holding the shares jointly, they will be counted as 5 members. Do I need to count the employees? Do I need to count the ex-employees? Shares were allotted when they were employees. Children, please make sure. If you were allotted shares, you were not employees. You were shareholder. Then you will be counted. Write it down over here. If you are shareholder and you were not employee at that time, then you will be counted. But if shares were allotted when you were employee of the company, then you will not be counted in the number of members. So directors and relatives, 50 will be counted and 5 numbers of members over here. And others, 145 are the other members which will be counted. So what is the total number of members if I want to convert it into private company? What is the total number of members I'm having? I'm having exact 200 number of members. So do I need to reduce the number of members for converting into private company? Absolutely correct. I hope you have understood also, children. You're not just writing it down just to come first and just to impress ma'am. Huh? Kavita is asking, ma'am, please explain once again. Sumit and Pooja have written, ma'am, understood very well. Good. Okay. So Kavita, it means what is the there is a public company, it is converting itself into private company. So when you are converting yourself into private company, then you have to see that the number of members shall not be more than 200. They are having 230 members. So when we saw those 230 members, we found that there are certain employees out of that. And the joint shareholders were counted as all the total shareholders. So when we tried to count as per the private company's provisions, then we found that it is only the number of members is 200. So that is why there is no need of changing the, reducing the number of members. Should there be any gap between being a shareholder and employee? Panipreet, don't go into such details. Simply tells you if you're a shareholder, you were not an employee, you will be counted. You were a shareholder and you're employee, you will not be counted. Simple. Any doubts, children, till here? Ram Charan Singh, if your private company is being held by public company, then sure you should deem to be a public company for all the compliance work. By your articles, you're still restricting a number of members to 200. Jandra is asking why company don't call for the full amount as which they will go for issued capital. So it is up to the choice of the company how much capital they are calling. Okay. Why cooperative society is kept out of the word body corporate, Rohan? So cooperative society is governed by their own respective acts. So that is not part of your body corporates. Okay. They have their own societies are not part of company. You're having different rules and regulations from them. Somebody's asking Khushi. If a past employee surrender his share and after a while he purchased, then he will be counted. So if you're a past employee and you're having shares, you will not be counted. In turnover is 30 crore in the previous example. So then it is the limit, it is within the limit, Deepika Jain. So that's why it is considered to be a small company. Yes, Shreya, you can write the answers in your own point. If employee are not considered as owner, then why they don't get the chance to become one? Owners, Aman, you're not the owners of the company, you're the shareholders or the members. So when you do the further chapters, you'll understand how when you take up the share in a company, you become a shareholder. When your name is entered in the register of members, you become a member. Barsha is asking, what is the meaning of significant influence? Significant influence means that you're holding at least 20% of the voting power in another company. That means you're influencing the other company. Either you are participating in their business decisions, whatever business decisions are to be taken, they are taken as per your consensus, or you're holding more than 20% of the share. No, Pooja Kashyap, you can remember 4 crores and 40 crores only. Wait, children, let me read the other queries which are coming up. If a company has two subsidiaries and they're not subsidiary of each other and holder, that will be counted as 2 layers or more. So, Banipreet, if you're having 2 layers of subsidiaries, if you're holding another subsidiary, that will be counted as your layer of subsidiary. If private company is a holding company and public company is a subsidiary, yes, it shall deem to be a public company. No. Public company is deemed to be private. No, Aditya, it is not vice versa. Thank you so much, Sumit. I'm so glad to read this. He has written, ma'am, the way you explain the concepts with examples, everything is clear. Thank you so much. Present and I'm giving you a chance, Mosam Kumari, just a second. This past and present employees was a critical topic and you made it easy to explain. Thank you, Rohan. Then Mozi says, I'm glad, ma'am, I'm enjoying everything is clear. Yes, Mosam Kumari, where did you go? I'm giving you the chance to raise your hands. Yes. Yes, you want to speak?
Ma'am, can you explain postal ballot? What is this?
Postal ballot, not right now. It is a part of your voting.
Okay, ma'am. So this
So
question
we
is
will
clear,
do it
ma'am.
when we do the chapter of MGD.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. And your explanation is very helpful for us. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you. I'm
Work
glad you
hard.
enjoyed.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Beta. All right. Okay, anything else? Yes, Pippin, thank you so much. I'm glad you have enjoyed the session and you will revise it also. That's wonderful. Great. Okay. Let's take a small break here, children, and then we'll continue. We have the class still pending. We will be doing it till 8:30. Okay. So let's take a small break over here and 3-4 minutes break and then we'll continue. Okay, students. I think we still have the time. We can continue with the further topics. I hope all your doubts have been cleared. All right. Nagratna Bani, it is more than 20% and less than 50%. That is right. Soumya Jain is asking one more employee point. Soumya Jain, if you are the employee of the company and the shares have been given to you being an employee of the company, then you will not be counted in the limit of 200. But if the shares were given to you when you were not the employee of the company, then you will be counted as the member. All right. So here is another question in front of you on the screen. You can try solving this also so that you get more clarity on public and private company. Everyone, just read this question and try sending the answers. Directors and relatives, 190, we are having ex-employees, employees. Will you be counting 15 or 20 employees? Yes or no? Quickly answer me the chat box. Others are 20, which includes 10 joint shareholders. So how many will you be counting? You'll be counting them as 10 members, not as 20 members. So what is the total number of members? I'm waiting for the answers. Yes, it can convert. Total members is 200 only. Very good. Excellent answers given by all of you. That means you have understood the concept. Why is somebody saying 195? 20 joint members, 10 joint holders means 10 people are jointly holding. So totality in 20, but they will be counted as 10. So again, how you have to write the answers, you have to give the brief explanation about private company, you will give the definition, what are the exclusions, facts of the case, and accordingly you will conclude the answer. This is your small company, which we have already covered. Now we have important topic, financial statements, which I think will take time. We can start it maybe in the next class. I think Shraddha ma'am is also here with us.
Yes, Harleen, ma'am. How are you, ma'am?
I'm fine, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening, and good evening, my dear students. So today was your first class of the session with Harleen, ma'am, in which she discussed with you the topics related to preliminary. Okay, the chapter preliminary. So there, most of the time, I have noticed that in spite of learning everything so good, I could see the students were asking again and again, ma'am, how will we remember it? Okay, so that was the major concern. And as Harleen ma'am rightly pointed out, that when you practice, consistency is the key. So I was thinking that what more we can give you. I've added I will try to help you with memorizing few things, which will not be in the sense of that you will be learning it, but in a fun manner, we will try to cover at least something on a daily basis, which we can learn. So are you ready, students? Good evening, dear students. Thank you. Okay. So let's revise few of the things. I will ask two questions and you will respond. So first question is, which is very obvious, is Companies Act 2013 applicable for you, or the Companies Act 1956, or the Companies Act of 1916 or 13? Okay, good, very good. All the students have understood this thing very beautifully. Now, moving on to the next thing. Ma'am was teaching you about the abridged prospectus. So, one more query. Abridged prospectus is what? Is it a memorandum? Is it simply a document? Or is it something else? So Rosie has raised her hand. I will come. Okay, memorandum. I think you have remembered it. You are not putting it from the point of view of just answering. Next, an abridged prospectus means the memorandum. Then it contains what? Which are being specified by SEBI. What is that term? The correct, okay, the correct spelling, it's not silent. Dear students, chalo. I have got one more point for you. It's salient. Why I'm saying salient? Many students will write in the examination silent. And you know, we have got this thing from the examiners that people write silent. It's not silent, it's salient. Okay. So the next, this you guys have understood it very well. Next, you read about associate companies. Okay. Let's learn the definition of associate companies. How will we learn it? So just repeat after me in your minds. Associate company, can I use a bit of a Hindi? Associate, what is the meaning of associate? Associate will always be in relation to. Yeah, I am just trying, thank you. हाँ, साथ, मतलब किसी के साथ, कुछ ना कुछ, some relation has to be there. Actually, if we will be rectifying everything, so you will not remember it in your examination. So I am trying how to tell you that similarly, you can do other provisions also. So associate means साथ in Hindi, and in English it means in relation to, in association. So association ka different word what we are using is in relation to. What? It's a company, then it has to be in relation to another company. So we got 2 points. One is in relation to, and the second point is in relation to another company, on which this company has significant influence. You might be feeling kiddish, but you will remember it in your examination. Significant influence. And what does significant influence means? I have to control that thing somehow. Only when I can control, then only I can have influence on something. So associate means in relation to. Secondly, in relation to another company, because it's an associate company, then it has to has a significant influence. And what does this significant influence means? 20% of what? Control of at least 20% of total voting power, because they have to total voting power, not right, total voting power. The correct word is voting power. Don't use the word right. Use the word total voting power. So I am unmuting you all for few seconds, and you all will respond to it simultaneously. Just a moment, students. Yeah. Just trying. Wait. Unmute all. Halim, ma'am, can you help me for unmuting them for a moment?
Yes, ma'am. I'm just checking if I can unmute because host is, I think, Manish sir.
Okay. So, Manish ji, just for when I will tell you, you mute them again. I will be just using the actions and you guys have to reply on it. Okay. Associate company means, use the word.
In relation to.
In relation to.
In relation to which?
Another company.
Another
company.
Correct. In relation to another company.
Another company.
And we need to have
having significant control.
Significant influence.
significant influence.
More than
Voting
20%.
power.
20% of
More
voting power.
20% of voting
More,
power.
20% of
20% more.
50% less
No,
than
beta
voting.
50 नहीं 20.
20%.
मनीष जी म्यूट देम ऑल. अब कभी भी आंख बंद करके Whenever you feel like, just write. Right now, you may be feeling that we are taking time in it, but the point is, this is the way we have to remember things. I cannot learn everything. You cannot learn. Next time when you will be doing it, this definition, you will remember it. You don't have to learn it. Okay? And if you want, we can continue with few more definitions in the next class. Oh, Rosie has raised her hand. Where is she? Can I see Rosie?
Rosie, can you raise your hand again?
Yeah, ma'am, I just want to say that it's a very good way of teaching. Like with actions, we can learn better.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yes,
I
thank you.
will, if this is like, let's try to remember at least 2 to 3 provisions in a day or in a class, and rest of the provisions can be taken up by you people. Harleen ma'am or other expert faculty will do the work of explaining you, and I will make things simpler for you so that you remember it and you don't feel apprehensive towards the subject.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, and any other query that you have? Thank you,
No, ma'am.
Rehan.
Thank you. Thank you.
Any other query that you have as far as practice is concerned in next class or next to next class? Once you are done with few provisions, I will ask you guys to solve few questions in front of me so that we come to know that where we are lacking, and I will guide you on few points which I know students make mistakes. Ma'am, can you show law in pictorial representation? Yes, I can. Ma'am, test will be conducted or not after every chapter. I will work on that also. So pictorial representation I will do. I will help you with that. I will help you with that also. Pictorial representation. Haleen ma'am, I think we can work on this
For
also.
law,
And
for law, they want pictorial representation just for the word law.
I don't think so. So if you don't have any other problem, then for today, I have just done it on a sample basis, and
Ma'am?
then we can take it further. Okay, let's do one more definition with you.
I think holding and subsidiary can be done.
Holding and subsidiary, ma'am, I will do in the next class with them because they will not understand it in such a. Today I want to give them something which they can learn through actions. In the next class, I have devised a new technique for them.
Oh, very nice.
Okay, so let's learn a very easy definition today. One more easy definition, which is your books of accounts. So what do we mean books of accounts? If we close our eyes, we can see keep एक book है. So in book, what do we keep? In book, we keep records of things. So the word that we use is records. Why I'm specifying certain words? In law, you have to remember the keywords. Keywords do make an impression on the, what do we say, paper checker. Okay. So books of account, if I see a book, in books, something has to be written. So it is a record of things. And what is that record? It is with respect to 4 things. Now, if I have to look from a company's point of view, let's have a very clear view. What as a company I have purchased, what I have purchased or what I have sold, whether be it in terms of goods or in services. If I am purchasing or selling something, then that means I will be expending some money or receiving some money. Okay? So there are 2 things. If I am a company, I will be dealing in something either purchase or sale. And for that, what I have to do? I have to spend money if I am purchasing, and if I am selling, then I will receive money. These 2 points are clear? Then, for remembering point of view, if I am a company, I have some assets and some liabilities, the T-shaped balance sheet. And the next point is that you have to learn. So that is our items of cost as specified under section 148. Why I'm saying you have to learn? The first 3 points I can correlate and remember in my mind. However, the fourth point is such that I have to learn it. Just a moment.
Plus, ma'am, they can relate it when they will be doing the auditing chapter. So that's
Yes.
when they will do it. It's the
Yes.
last topic of the auditing chapter. 148 is the last topic.
Yes, section 148 of it will be dealt with in
audit.
chapter 10. So you will now remember that whenever we talk about books of account, book means a thing which is keeping records in relation to what? Purchase and sale, money is expended and received, and then balance sheet, so your assets and liabilities, and the fourth point is items related to cost of items, okay, as defined under section 148. Now, when you will be reading these things, okay, what the student is, and we make notes in our own language, yes, you can. If we are not able to learn section number, but we make clear logic, then answer. Yes, you can. Nobody can write this language. Do you see, even I am not using a very bookish language. I have just picked up the words that matter to the examiner. Like they would be like expended, received, okay, items of cost. So those are the keywords. Or sale and purchase. Now, that's what I'm telling you. Now, what you will do today, when specifically these 4 definitions you will be doing today, please take out after the class, just take out 5 to 10 minutes and read these 3 or 4 definitions just after the class, and read it twice or thrice. Just see the difference. You will remember it, and in the next class you will give me the feedback on this. Thank you.
Ma'am, Soumya has raised a question. Does public company has any limit? Actually, they're writing direct message. So children, you can just open up the message so that everyone can read it. So Soumya has written, does public company has any limit for
Yep.
minimum paid up capital?
Yes, beta, this can be done. It can be done in every subject. With law, I know because I have been doing it for long. Ma'am, can you provide us with the blueprint for subjects that which sequence can be?
Self-study.
Okay, I cannot see. Which self-study further also?
I think, ma'am, the Saransh is a very good option for them. They can refer to that as a summarized technique made by ICAI.
Yeah, I don't know whether I will be able to share my screen with you or not. Share. Okay. Give me a minute. I will just show you the Saransh.
Meanwhile, ma'am, I'll just read a message, a beautiful message
Sure.
shared by Sumit. He has written, ma'am, every class with you is a perfect blend of knowledge and enjoyment. And the session was exceptionally amazing. Thank you for your guidance. I think he's addressing you as well. So,
No, I
thanks to you,
am
ma'am.
just trying to help the students in revision. That's my job, and I hope so students, if they can make benefit out of it, nothing like that, because after understanding, they have to learn it and simultaneously they have to put it on paper. Can you see my screen, students?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you go to the BUS Live website. So this is the direct link for BUS. So go to the Saransh, last mile referencer, and in this intermediate, go here. So these are the short notes that have been provided to you. So if you I'm just pointing it out. So this is one of the techniques that we are using, where we are saying that engage in discussions. So this is like engaging in discussion with yourself, that what you are trying to learn, or create mind maps, create conceptual framework. So Harleen ma'am taught you something and now you're trying to memorize it in your mind. Okay, create mind map, flow charts. So this is your chapter 1. It is for the students. We have made it, but it is always advisable if you make your own notes or refer this saransh, and then whatever you feel like has not been covered here, or you want to write something more, then you can add few points in this.
And moreover, I would request students to use it after you have studied the chapter very well. So this is a very short summary, I think, ma'am, a very colorful thing made by the institute so that they can enjoy studying from here, but the basic concepts
Yes.
have to be done from the module.
Yes, yes. So, ma'am, is saransh important for exam? It is for the sake of understanding things better and for revising. It is not a part of your curriculum as such. It is for your benefit. Anything else, students, that you want to ask? I think
Priyanshu
Harleen,
Gupta, you want to say something, Priyanshu Gupta? I think, ma'am, no more queries. Thank you, Deepika Jain. She has also written comments for us. And yes, Priyanshu, you can speak if you want to say something. Tenmozi is asking, ma'am, is mock test available in ICAI BOS app?
the mock test for May
Hello.
25. Yeah, okay. Priyanshu.
हेलो मैम
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
मैम मैं फर्स्ट टाइम यूज कर रहा हूँ जूम। तो मैम एक्चुअली मैं थोड़ा बिजी हूँ, बिजनेस भी करते हैं अपना, तो मैं सीए करना चाहता हूँ। तो उसके लिए मैं आपकी रिकॉर्डेड क्लासेस में अभी मैम की फर्स्ट वाली लेक्चर ले रहा हूँ, श्रद्धा मैम की। तो उसे कैसे करना है वो तो मैम मैं देख रहा हूँ। उन्होंने एक ग्रुप दिया है व्हाट्सएप का, तो मैं वो ग्रुप अटैच नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ, तो प्लीज
So,
हेल्प मी मैम।
have you still not enrolled with ICAI?
Yes, ma'am. Enroll. My ICRO number is already generated.
Okay. So फिर आप डायरेक्टली उसमें लिंक में क्लिक करो, सब बच्चे ज्वाइन कर पा रहे हैं?
मैम मैं नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ, इसीलिए मैं बार बार थोड़ा सा समझने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ।
ओके।
आपको लिंक रिसीव हुआ था?
नो नो सर, कोई लिंक नहीं मिला है। मैं फिर भी
जब
डायरेक्ट
आपको लिंक
मैसेज
ही नहीं
में
मिला तो आप ज्वाइन कैसे करेंगे? आई एम
क्या चीज
शेयरिंग।
मैम? हेलो
Priyanshu, this query is being taken up by our technical expert, Mr. Ajit, so he is responding to you.
मैम आई एम
ओके
शेयरिंग द लिंक।
अच्छा।
यस सर, पर मुझे उधर से कोई रिप्लाई नहीं आ रहा है, चैट में कोई लिंक नहीं आया अभी तक।
मैं शेयर कर रहा हूँ, 2 मिनट वेट कीजिए।
ओके, थैंक यू सर।
And Naveen Kumar, you have asked that how to maintain proper notes from classes, faculties, notes and study material. सब कुछ करने के चक्कर में मत पढ़ना। एक मटेरियल आप उठाओ और उससे पढ़ना शुरू करो। and I have said it in my first class also, मैम जब पढ़ा रही हैं, चाहे मैम पढ़ाएं, कोई भी हमारी एक्सपर्ट फैकल्टी पढ़ा रही है, प्लीज अपना मटेरियल आप लेके बैठो और उसके साथ पढ़ो। उसमें जो आप नोट्स बनाओगे ना, दे विल बी विद यू। अगर आप मैंने कुछ रेफर किया, बोला, वो आप रेफर कर रहे हो, फिर हरलीन मैम ने कुछ बोला या किसी और ने कुछ बोला, डोंट गो इन फॉर 50 थिंग्स। आई विल जस्ट से कि आप अपना स्टडी मटेरियल उठाओ। अगर आप ऑलरेडी किसी चीज से पढ़ रहे हो एंड यू फील कंफर्टेबल एंड यू फील दैट दैट इज फाइन फॉर यू, कंप्लीट फॉर यू, तो फिर आप उसको उठाइए। अदरवाइज स्टडी मटेरियल उठाओ, उससे पढ़ना शुरू करो। और जब मैं पढ़ा रही है ना, तो अगर आप नोटिस करोगे, शी इज स्पीकिंग अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स। ओके, जरूरी नहीं है सब कुछ स्टडी मटेरियल में। आपको सब कुछ मैम जो बता रही है वो स्टडी मटेरियल में नहीं मिलेगा, बट इट विल डेवलप योर अंडरस्टैंडिंग। ओके, नोट्स के लिए आपके पास सारांश है, और अगर आप और ज्यादा अच्छा करना चाहते हो तो अपने नोट्स वहीं पे साइड में खुद बना लो या फिर सारांश में अपना ऐड कर लो, एंड देन यू गो बियॉन्ड दैट, जो आपको असाइनमेंट्स मिलेंगे या क्लासेस में हम जो और सिखा रहे हैं वो आप करिए, दैट इज मोर देन इनफ। तभी हम नेक्स्ट स्टेप पे आ पाएंगे, विच इज योर प्रैक्टिस। आई होप नवीन आपकी क्वेरी क्लियर हो गई है। मौसम कुमारी, आई एम अनम्यूटिंग यू।
Mosam Kumari wants to say something.
यस मौसम।
मैम यही मैंने पूछना था कि जैसे कि मैम हरलीन मैम के जो प्रेजेंटेशन वाले नोट्स हैं, हाँ, अगर हम उन्हीं को फॉलो करके करें, क्योंकि मैंने स्टडी मटेरियल में देखे हैं मैम जो बता रही है, एक्सप्लेन कर रही है, वो डिफरेंट है, बहुत डिफरेंट है, कुछ कुछ सिमिलर है। तो मैं यही कह रही हूँ कि मैं कौन सा फॉलो करूँ, स्टडी मटेरियल या मैम वाला।
So I'll tell you one thing, ma'am, if you allow me.
यस यस हरलीन।
So you have to follow. See, study material is the Bible for us. So in our notes, sometimes we try to simplify the things. मौसम, हम कई बार उसे समझाने के लिए एग्जाम्पल्स वगैरह जो मैं आपको बता रही हूँ वो आपकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग के लिए आप साथ साथ लिखिए, नोट्स बनाइए, बट यू कैन नॉट लीव स्टडी मटेरियल। इवन मैम आई से, अगर आप कहते हो कोई और बुक, मैं कहती हूँ स्टडी मटेरियल को ही आप फॉलो करो,
मेमोरी
आप
टेक्निक
एड
के
ऑन्स के लिए
लिए
नोट्स
आपके
रेफर
वाले
करो।
फॉलो करूँ, मेमोरी टेक्निक के लिए, जैसे कि कॉन्सेप्ट
हाँ,
क्लियरिटी के लिए जस्ट।
yes, you can follow, but don't leave like some of the definitions, debentures and all. We try to leave because, don't leave any topic.
हाँ, मैंने चैप्टर्स को पढ़े हैं ना, तो मतलब कि आपकी कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियरिटी तो हो जाती है, फिर डिफरेंशिएट मतलब मुझे डिफरेंट लगते हैं, फिर मैं कंफ्यूज हो जाती हूँ वहां पे कि मैं क्या करूँ, कौन सा वाला फॉलो करूँ, कौन सा नहीं।
आप कर सकते हो फॉलो, नॉट टू वरी, दैट
और
टॉपिक शुड बी कवर।
आप मुझे एक चीज बताओ, जो भी आप मटेरियल रेफर कर रहे हो मौसम,
हाँ
क्या
जी मैम।
उसमें कंसेप्चुअली कुछ डिफरेंट है?
नो मैम, डिफरेंट नहीं है, बस शॉर्ट में है, बस वो
ओके
क्लियरिटी के लिए।
ओके ओके, नाउ आई गॉट योर पॉइंट। मेरा बस उसमें एक ही आपको एडिशन है।
हाँ जी।
अगर आप कुछ शॉर्ट में यूज कर रहे हो, and it is not for you, it's for every student, just be aware of the fact that whenever you are referring any material in short, then you will have a problem later on while you will be writing.
यस मैम, एक्चुअली मैम मैंने
Because
चैप्टर पढ़ती हूँ
हाँ,
ना, तो
बोलो
फिर
बेटा।
वो जब मैं चैप्टर को पढ़ती हूँ तो फिर मुझे लगता है कि ये बहुत ज्यादा लेंदी है, और क्लैरिटी के लिए बस मैम मैम का जो नोट्स है ना उसको फॉलो करती हूँ।
हाँ हाँ, that is perfectly
क्लैरिटी
fine.
में डीप डीप स्टडी करती हूँ, मैं डीप पढ़ती हूँ,
हाँ
बट
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल।
क्योंकि
फिर
मैम
ठीक,
रिटर्न में इतना नहीं कर सकते हैं ना जितना स्टडी
नहीं
मटेरियल में
नहीं
है।
नहीं, मैं हमेशा ही बच्चों को ये बोलती हूँ कि आपको हम स्टडी मटेरियल, आप समझिए दिस इज अ डायरेक्ट डिस्टेंस लर्निंग प्रोग्राम, सो आपको हमें एक्सटेंसिव देना पड़ेगा। आपको अगर मैं अभी से इतना सा पढ़ाऊंगी, एग्जाम में आप इतना लिख के आओगे।
जी मैम।
सो हमें आपको थोड़ा लेंथ में पढ़ाना होता है, एंड फॉर यू टू अंडरस्टैंड, सपोज आई हैव जस्ट गिवन यू दीज नोट्स and there is no help from Harleen ma'am, there is no help available, will you be able to understand, will you be able to understand and then write it? That is
नो,
not possible.
इट्स
You
डिफिकल्ट
are
फॉर अस।
able to understand the short notes because of help of Harleen ma'am. She has made things so easy for you that you are able to understand those short notes.
Thank you so much for your hard working ma'am for us. Thank you so much. It's a very, very thank you for that
Thank you.
institute provide us very nice that virtual classes. I really appreciate to boss and you madam.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, beta.
So students, can we close down? Okay, one more query from Shankar.
Shankar Kumar wants to say something. And Soumya, there is no limit, the question that you have asked. There is no limit set for that. Okay, bacha?
Okay. Shankar Kumar.
हेलो मैम, गुड इवनिंग मैम।
Good
Good
evening,
evening.
Shankar.
हेलो।
Yes,
हाँ
Shankar.
मैम, मेरा ये एक मेरा क्वेरी था कि जितने भी जैसे जो हमारा जो लॉ का कीवर्ड्स होते हैं ना, उसमें प्रॉब्लम होती है जब हम लोग आंसर लिखना शुरू करते हैं, तो उसमें बहुत सारे ऐसे वर्ड्स होते हैं जिसको हम लोग लिख नहीं पाते हैं, उसको सही से ढंग से लिखने के न कारण वो जो क्या हो जाता है, हमारा जो है वर्ड पूरे आंसर्स में वर्ड्स गलत हो जाते हैं। तो मैं चाहता हूँ कि थोड़ा बहुत जो आप कीवर्ड्स का एक चार्ट दे दें तो उससे हम लोग का हेल्पफुल हो जाएगा।
नहीं, I will not do it. उसका मैं आपको रीजन बताती हूँ। मैं आपकी हेल्प करूंगी, कीवर्ड्स आप खुद ढूंढोगे।
अच्छा अच्छा।
और मैं आपकी हेल्प पूरी करूंगी उसमें। जैसे आज मैंने आपको बताया, बाय द टाइम वी आर ऑन आवर 5th और 6th क्लास, आप देखना आप कीवर्ड्स खुद समझने लगेंगे। यू डोंट नीड मी फॉर दैट।
ओके मैम।
I am not here to make you provide things. I am here just a facilitator who has to help you do things on your own. Okay? और आप लोगों को 5th और 6th
वो तो
क्लास में
कर रहा हूँ मैम, कुछ वर्ड
नहीं, आपको खुद समझोगे आप कीवर्ड्स क्या
कुछ कुछ
होते हैं।
वर्ड हम
हाँ बताओ, बोलो बोलो।
मतलब कि जैसे बहुत सारे वर्ड्स जैसे जो आते हैं ना, तो उसका जैसे मान लीजिए हम लोग का वो उसका जो समराइज मीनिंग पता नहीं होता है, जिसके बारे में जो हम लोग लिख देते हैं उसको और डिटेल्ड में, उसी कारण से हम लोग का जो गलती हो जाता है।
हाँ तो वही चीज मैं
जिसके
आपको
बाद
इम्प्रोवाइज कराऊंगी इन एवरी क्लास।
अच्छा,
आई विल ट्राई
और
एंड हेल्प यू विद दिस।
चैप्टर वाइज टेस्ट हो जाता तो अच्छा रहता मैम।
I will discuss it with my management team and then I will come back to you on this. बाकी छोटा छोटा तो हम आपसे क्वेश्चंस पूछते ही रहेंगे. You have seen कि I will be keeping on asking questions from you. Even Harleen ma'am does it. I have seen it. Okay, so
ओके
one more thing. This is my last question. Where from ma'am आपका study material कहाँ से मिलेगा? बेटा, it is available on the website if you want to see it in the soft copy, and if you want, ma'am, and if you want to have a hard copy, then you can take it from the CDS portal. Could you please provide the WhatsApp group again, Mr. Ajit? Beta, let me just try if I can do it. Hold on. Meeting group chat. I think I have said correct. I have sent correctly.
Yeah, yes, ma'am, you have sent it.
Okay. So with this, we have come to the end of this session. And in the next session, I'm expecting all of you with your books. Please come with your books and your notes so that we can work more towards it. And thank you, Harleen ma'am, for such a wonderful session. This I could see that the students were enjoying a lot. So
Thank you so, ma'am. Thank you so much.
good night, and take rest and be ready for tomorrow's class that you have to attend. Take care, beta.
All right. Thank you so much. All right, students. Yes, ma'am. Yes.